All right, welcome everybody to the Madhouse. This is Tuesday. We meet here every Tuesday and like to start the night off with a show and share. You may notice that we have a different configuration today with the tables out and the chairs different. It's because tonight, after show and share, we're going to do Toy Tech. I imagine most of you know what Toy Tech is, but if you don't, that's where we partner with Spark to adapt toys for children who don't have quite the dexterity to play with them, and we adapt them so that they can. And then their parents get to enjoy that just like everyone else's. So, to start off with show and share, we have a list here. First up is Tracy, who's going to show us an ornament.
Hey everyone. I showed off a acrylic butterfly that I had made a few months ago, and I decided that it would be fun to make a Christmas ornament out of acrylic. So you can't really see the colors very well, but I'll hold it up. So this was cut out on the laser and put together with 2-part epoxy, and I actually have a class on the calendar right now if you would like to make your own ornament. It's green, you can see. So there's a few different designs that I've made, and I'll cut out all the pieces and you can make it in whatever color you want, and then we can all hang out and make Christmas ornaments together that look like stained glass, but they're actually acrylic. That's my project.
Very cool. All right, next up is Mark, who's going to show us a round table, and he has okay.
I will try to keep this to 3 minutes. So, first question I guess you always have with a project is why do you even bother with it? So, I'll cover why I'm doing it, and then the things that are kind of interesting about it. There's a circle jig, there's resawing and lamination, and taper jig and chiseling for the legs. So, this is why I'm built this. This holds a plant in our front foyer. He likes to eat the plant. So I wanted something round that was just big enough for a pot, no room for him to get up there on it. So that's why. So this is a solid walnut piece. I was fortunate enough, Jeffrey's Lumber, the guy down there was willing to he planed it and jointed the edges. I didn't have a joiner at home when I made this, so I was able to get the top started. I love the look of wood. Anyway, so the next step was to make it round, and I got a circle jig for my router table, and it uses a 1/8 inch peg, and you put whatever you want in that, and you spin it around through everything. So first thing I did was a lot of practice to figure out how to do it without damaging the pieces, and then ran through this with a down-cut spiral bit, got it to size, and then I put a 1/2 inch slot in it for the skirt to come across later. And there it is, looking kind of pretty. Trying to go through this quickly. Then I resawed a bunch of 1/8 inch thick walnut pieces. I didn't need the diagonal lines on this because because it was going in a circle, it almost didn't matter, but I thought it would help me. Once again, pretty shot. Guess there's only 4 slices in each of them. So then I made a jig for it. So the thing about lamination like this is you always have to make it a little tighter circle by just a fraction more than you want it to be, because it's going to bounce back. So this is the practice jig. It's only 2 thick, 2 pieces of MDF thick. I tested it with some red oak. Basically proved things worked with some 3/4 inch plywood. And then I moved on to the final piece and realized I needed some more stuff up at the top to get around it properly. So I laminated, whoops, I meant to go back, but you can see this is a lot thicker than the other piece. So that's the full thickness of the skirt. And you never have enough clamps, so I got it all clamped together. And then planed down the edges on it, sanded it smooth, and it fit into the slot. I think I'm going to admit a little luck on having gotten the diameter just right, but watched a few YouTube videos. So then I had a second piece, and then had to create a lap joint between them. And now we're off to the legs. So wanted the legs to look pretty. I had to look good enough that my wife would let me put it in the front foyer. So I did a little bit of practicing with this. The reason this is really fine adjustments on angle, and the reason that you see all these peg holes is you have to bounce it back and forth. You start with a piece that's square, and then you cut a slice off of it. And then if you rotate it clockwise, you still have a square piece at the bottom, and you cut it, but then you now have an angled piece, and you need twice as much angle to get the same angle on the other cuts. So you end up, and then if you're doing that between legs, you have to bounce back and forth. So that's help for that. So once again, did a lot of practicing, did some tying, tried a few things with a router after using the taper jig, and my wife decided she liked that one. So that's what I ended up with. Then I needed to fit those legs over the skirt, so I started with a 1/2-inch slot at the router, so I had a good starting point. Then I chiseled it out, had to put some curve into it so it would fit. And that was the first time for me, chiseling, first time taper jig, first time resawing. So then I had to fit everything together. And then once it all fit together, then I had to figure out how to fasten it, because none of this is glued together, except for where it was laminated and the top pieces, there's no glue. So these little corner offcuts, I'd practiced some finish work on them and decided they'd be great to hold it together. So I figured out how to use some threaded inserts and made some internal bracing for it. And then after trying that out, the legs were still wobbly, so I added a spline between the leg and the internal piece, and that gave it the rigidity I was looking for. So put in the inserts, and there it is before finishing. Used a gel stain. Walnut will fade pretty badly and this gets a lot of sun in the front foyer, so I used a stain on it before I did the final finishing, even though the walnut looked real pretty before that. And then used a satin polyurethane to go over that. And there it is. And here it is here. So, okay, now I'm talking about the inserts. All right. There it is. Yeah, I guess it's off. It's a cat thwarted, but anyway.
How much time do you think you have into this?
I have no idea. I just chip away with it till it's done. I'm prone. I've made a comment. I only get involved in epic projects, and I was told to try to find something that would fit into a short period of time. So this was the smallest project I could think of that I could talk about in one fell swoop. Okay. I have a natural propensity to keep going on stuff. So, all right. Well, have I expended my 3 minutes plus?
Very cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe you said that's your second project, woodworking project, sir? Yes. That's a very lofty goal for your second one.
The first one is another time.
Right. All right. Next up is James, who's going to show us a very accurate rendition of Jingle Bells.
All right. So I wanted to make a musical robot for the holidays. I've got a few things going on here. So I got a little start button and it's wired to the wheel I got in electronics. And then the other side is wired to the battery. And then the other side of the battery is wired to the button. So it'll complete the circuit when I do that. I made this project, and that's a golf tee jammed into a tire. I made this project in 30 minutes. I wanted to make some kind of machine, I'm calling it a robot, but a machine that makes holiday music.
Very cool. And that's part of a class that's coming up that James is going to do. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Next up is Arno, who's going to show us a fishing lure test bed.
Just throw that down there. Just gently set that there. Okay, so a little bit of background on this. My dad designs and 3D prints fishing lures. And then he paints them, and then he takes them out and he catches fish. But one of the things that he does is he designs like 10 times more of these than he actually uses because some of them suck. So his usual method is he makes 10 of them, he goes down to the river, and he casts them all in the water, and he watches how they swim. And I thought that was pretty wasteful, so I said, why don't we build a little jig to test them just like right here in the house? So he said, oh, yeah, I have this motor just for that, and I just haven't done it yet. So I thought I'd take on the challenge. So I have some aluminum siding. That's very thin sheet metal. I just went and folded it up over there in the machine shop, drilled out some holes. I have some plugs. Need to go get the hosing still, and then I'm going to glue this up. And the last thing I have to figure out is how I'm going to sort of mount it, and I haven't gotten that far because just haven't gotten that far.
So is the idea water shoots through one end, out the other, and back around?
Yes.
So there's a constantly flow of water?
Mm-hmm. So then all you have to do is attach the fishing lure to a piece of line, hold it right here, and it'll move however it's going to move.
Very cool.
So wait, are you still trying to figure out how you're gonna seal it all up?
I know how I'm going to seal it. I have some silicone. Works for a bathtub, it'll work for this. I don't know how I'm going to mount it. So I'm thinking like wood, PVC, maybe some metal, don't know yet.
Very cool. All right, next up we have Imris, who's going to show us his soldering kit.
So this is what me and my dad made when we were soldering. We're still working on it. It's a work in progress. And while we were doing this, I was learning how to solder. So we started out with something easy.
Yeah, so it's your very first soldering, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to show you guys.
Very cool. Thank you very much. All right, that's all that I have on the list. Did we miss anybody? Going once, going twice? All right, well, we have a ton of classes coming up in the next 2 weeks and events. Tonight's Toy Tech, of course. More coming on that in a minute. This Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have the Flexo class. That's the cold metal bending tool that we have. That's at 2:30 on Saturday and 2:30 on Sunday. That's up. Sign up if you want to be able to use that. Then the following Thursday on the 9th, we have the acrylic holiday ornaments like Tracy made. I think if you sign up for that, you get to pick which ornament you want and then come and make your ornament and go home with it. And then the following Saturday on the 11th is a laser class. That's the off class to be able to use our laser here. And then that same Saturday at 1 p.m. is a wood turning Christmas ornaments class that Tim's going to do for us. So if you want to make a wooden ornament for your tree, that's a great thing. And also learn how to wood turn. And then on the 12th, which is the Sunday, is the Mad Engineers circuit bending class that James is going to do for us, where you can make a instrument from stuff on the show or stuff on the hack rack. And then once you do that, you get to use it in a parade there downtown. And then eventually you'll get to go home with your instrument that you made. Sounds like a blast to me. And I think there is one ticket. Well, actually, it's not even a ticket. It's sold out of tickets, right? Yeah. But there's one spot left. Talk to James if you are interested. And that's all in the next 2 weeks. And so check out the calendar, sign up for whatever you want. That's it for Show and Share tonight. Now I'm going to hand it over to Tracy, and she will talk to you about Toy Tech.